Instead of summoning Puny Wraith, you're summoning the Wraith God, this giant Giga Chat going around 100,000, 200,000 crits, actually only critical striking, because your Dread Shade that you cast on him makes him absolutely bonkers. Since the Dread Shade has a specialty when cast on a Wraith that it multiplicative raises the damage into oblivion and, well, makes him permanently crit. Now, how are we getting this Wraith Lord? And that is a specific unique called the Wraithlords Harbour. It's new and amazing. And the best part is, with the Monolith and also the Circle of Fortune plus Runes of Ascension, you can get it so goddamn fast. I think I dropped it around level 65, and until then I leveled with volatile zombies. And now I've finally gotten to try it out, and it's incredible. It's a boss melter, a monolith destroyer. The only thing you gotta look out for is to build up your defense that you keep surviving. But no worries, we got life drain that we can put down everywhere, and it's a cast now instead of a channel where we're sucking our own minions dry to steal mana and life out of them as we're consistently and continuously surviving, teleporting around, putting the people in our backpack with our traversal shoes. Fantastic. Let me quickly show you the gameplay loop instead of just gameplay in the background. The build has 3 steps. You summon your Wraith Lord. Yeah, he's ginormous. Then you're going to buff him with Dread Shade, and that's going to slowly kill him. But he heals over critical strikes, and he now only critical strikes. And then we transplant, and that transplant at the same time casts Bone Curse. And, well, you do notice how he just absolutely obliterates everything with one-hits. Now you get to see that the Dread Shade has a 20-second cooldown, and it lasts for 20 seconds. So whenever the cooldown is up, you're essentially just straight up putting it on again. And then you just keep teleporting into everything, cursing them, and have your dudes follow up. Now you can spam here your life leech on your own Wraithies, and as you see, it soaks up your mana and your life back again. Curse him, cast it like your life drain on your dudes, and keep in mind this is now a cast. It's not a channel anymore, so we can just spam that on. And then we just have our Wraith Lord who gets teleported with us every single time because of our boots. Yeah, he's just juking everything. Now I need heal, so I cast it on my dudes, and they just heal me full, right? And also spam it on the Wraith Lord. And as you see, the Wraith Lord is like slowly dying if he doesn't attack, because the Dread Shade does a poison that goes stronger and stronger and stronger. But yeah, you can imagine this on enemy bosses as well. And the damage goes quite silly. This is the helmet you need, the Wraithlords Harbour, and you can get it incredibly easy, but I'll push that back to the gear section where we also talk about the Circle of Fortune and how to target farm this. It is essentially +1 to summon Wraith, and casting Summon Wraith summons a Wraith Lord. This Wraith Lord summons Wraithies too, and just shoots out these beams of destruction, which is crazy. Now to the skills first, passives, and then the gear explained. The most important one would be Wraith itself. First, we're going to the right side. Locus of Resurrection, just 1 point to put 2 points into the Haunting, that your Wraithies have more HP. And then Twin Spirits. You only want to summon 2 more Wraithies on top of the Wraith Lord, because else he's kind of stuck in this infinite Wraith Lord summoning loop, since you drain the HP out of the Wraith Lords with your Life Leech. And then you're going to make Wraithies larger and do more damage. Works incredibly well. Generally increase their necrotic damage, have them do more necrotic damage, and leech life. Yes, that's what keeps them alive. The mana cost efficiency doesn't matter. Make them move a little bit faster. And then down here, critical strike chance. Very good. More critical strike chance. And crit damage leached as health. Plus then critical strikes deal more damage multiplicative. So crit strike multiplier. And all of this works so incredibly good because of Dread Shade. And in Dread Shade, we do something special. First, we're going to have Dread Shade reduce less life and more necrotic damage. Then we're going to have Dread Shade only go on 1 single unit, and that is our ginormous Wraith Lord. That Wraith Lord now always crits. So Dread Shade now has an 18-second cooldown, 20-second duration boosting the damage of our minion. And not only boosting the damage of our minion, he now, instead of life drain, gets an everlasting poison that stacks up, but he obviously leeches himself back up, and then another damage multiplier if he's a Wraith. Higher the attack speed, but blind the dude even more. Doesn't matter, he's critical striking constantly. Blind doesn't phase him at all. And then more damage multiplier. The area here doesn't matter. The more health decay doesn't matter because, well, he's getting poisoned. So what we care about the health decay? That one doesn't apply anyways anymore. The biggest downside about this is you can't symbiotic apparition, have the beneficial effects above you, and get more armor from the shade. But this way, it just goes crazy. For our travel skill, we're playing Transplant. You see me teleporting around. And we're also playing Bone Curse, but we don't even use Bone Curse since Transplant can now detonate in a larger area, deal more hit damage to cursed enemies, and Transplant now casts Bone Curse where you arrive, saving you to cast Bone Curse the whole time. And Bone Curse, it is very good. Now we're gonna make the cast speed and the cooldown recovery speed better to Transplant more often. Then Transplant costs less health, it's kind of good. And Transplant now casts Bone Armor. So we get 300 Bone Armor and 12% less damage taken, which is crazy. Teleport, Bone Armor. Then that Bone Armor lasts longer, and the Bone Armor is 20% more efficient. Whenever you Transplant, we make sure that we're tanky, we take our minions with us, we curse everyone to take more damage, and then we essentially just have to cast our Drain Life and our Dread Shade to have the gameplay loop fully filled up. Now the Bone Curse, very interesting. First, we're going to make it affect a larger area, so when you teleport, the Bone Curse hits the whole screen. The Bone Curse also applies Mark of Death, and Mark of Death is a curse that lasts for 8 seconds and reduces all resistances by 25%. So we're teleporting, Mark of Death 2. Then the Mark of Death lasts longer that we apply. And lastly, Bone Curse base physical damage is converted to necrotic. Important, consequently, this damage scales with increased to necrotic damage but not increased to physical damage, and we increase our necrotic damage throughout the whole board. Now we'll also reduce their armor when we Bone Curse, so our teleport reduces armor too. We have Bone Curse deal more damage, and that multiplies with other multipliers. And lastly, there is an interesting kill threshold. If something reaches 12% HP, they just die. Bosses too. So if you bring bosses down, they're just dead. Dead. That's it. Done. Superb. Lastly, Drain Life. Drain Life is incredible and confusing. Drain Life is usually a channel ability. What we do is we make Drain Life cost less mana. We have Drain Life be way more efficient. Then Drain Life be even more efficient. And then we turn Drain Life from a channel, because you don't want to stand still, to a cast. So we boop, 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 put it down. That cast lasts longer, costs a little bit more mana, and ultimately can hit up to 10 additional targets. So you put it down and it hits everything, but it also slows everything. We'll have Drain Life do more damage on the left. Then when Drain Life kills a target, they do Soul Blast on kill. And importantly, it can also target your minions. So if I put Drain Life now down, it drains life from everyone around it, but it drains life from the minions as well, and it restores my mana. The last point is not necessary. I like it. So Drain Life can now only target minions, and it leeches a higher percentage of damage as health from your minions. I don't think this one is necessary. I've been playing around with it now, but if you have the bonus points in Ravenous and Insatiable, you do leech enough life, especially with the bonus targets you can hit with Grasp of the Damned. So I probably put the point out of Necrotic Feast to be able to hit more opponents and then consistently drain more life from everyone. This is good Necrotic Feast if you're playing bosses of Wraith, but I limit myself to 3 Wraith in total, so it would kind of be a waste to hit all these targets and then play Necrotic Feast on top of that too. For the passives, we need to flesh out our armor to be more sturdy. Then we'll higher the cast speed of our minions so that our dude just casts faster, and that would apply on us too if we use a minion skill. Plus more vitality and health on our minions, and lastly, your minions have additional armor per character level, making everyone more tanky. Technically not needed because the dude just stays alive like crazy, but a bonus contingency measure. Now we'll spec into Necromancer, but we'll need 5 points into Lich to actually get Drain Life. In the Necromancer tree, few specialties and perfect things to look at. First, minion damage increase, and minion health increase, plus damage reflect. Then a little bit of shred, but not too much shred, because actually your teleport also shreds armor already. Now we'll make them cast faster. We'll get more HP and our minions get less HP. That's very important to stay healthy. Plus, our minions get a lot of resistance plus, and we get even more vitality. The note of Empty the Graves, where I get more health regen per minion and more armor per minion, is not that important because it's only 3 minions that we're having. It's not much armor, it's a bit more health regen. You could technically take this out. The real important nodes begin here. This is critical strike chance for our minions, critical strike damage leech as health, perfection, and minion health leech in general higher. This is what truly keeps your Wraith alive. Now, we'll higher their necrotic damage, then we'll give them more necrotic damage multiplier, and lastly, the coolest node, critical multiplier. This node, completely useless, because this increases the critical strike chance, but with the Dread Shade, your Lich always crits. So what are you doing from this point on? You only higher the critical strike multiplier. Yeah, you're gonna make him do more damage. And that is so important for your gear, because now instead of looking for critical strike chance on any piece of gear, the only thing we're doing is critical strike multiplier. I have this turquoise amulet death rattle. Can be any amulet, doesn't actually have to be this one. What you want on it is critical strike multiplier. In this case, I would get some intelligence and I would regain 30 health on minion deaths, but I mainly just keep this because it has the 50% critical strike multiplier. Always critical strike, always multiplier, way too good. Try to get multiplier wherever you can. Then the Wraithlords Harbour, I made it a legendary from a unique already with plus 62 health to get even more tanky. We're 2.3k. Not much, we'll have to go up to 3k at some point. My boots are the most important piece currently. When I use a traversal skill, it teleports minions with me. And that is so important. It just takes the Wraith Lord in your backpack, jump, go, jump, go, jump, go. Also, cooldown recovery speed that we bring down the cooldown of Transplant to 3.5 seconds. The more cooldown recovery speed you have, the better it is. On the offhand, we swapped over to the normal Acolyte Relic with the necrotic damage and increased minion necrotic damage. And that one with bonus minion damage and then just resistances, intelligence, whatever you feel like. Mostly trying to boost my health, to be fair. On the belt, we have an interesting one that is still zombie summon on potion use. The Wraith Lord has a speciality. While at max Wraith, the Wraith Lord casts necrotic beams and regularly consumes all your non-Wraith minions to empower itself. That one lasts only for 10 seconds. So if I use a potion, summon 3 zombies, he instantly eats them to empower himself. It's quite a nice little thing together. Also gives me an 11% health increase, so that's quite fantastic. Now, if you think about summoning too many minions, don't do that, because your Wraith Lord gets stuck into eating minions instead of dealing damage. That's why I only summon some to empower him, but not too many. I tried using the Circle of Putrescence, that is a unique ring that keeps resummoning my zombies, and he was constantly just eating them and not doing any damage, and I died. My gloves are just meant to give us more minion damage and to make me more healthy. Simple matter of fact. There is a unique called Jewel Rust gloves that I couldn't pick up yet, so we get stuck with this. You notice my gear is a bit inferior for this build, but is already working so damn good. And the inferiority is kind of shown over the ring. This ring is just a complete normal Weaver's Will font that I found. It gives me a little bit of mana spent gained as ward, and then health and mana increase, plus I get a bit more ward, health regeneration, health, all that kind of thing. It works plenty well to just give me a bonus survivability. In total, you just want a ring that gives you more minion damage, and the rest of the stats being health and the respective resistances you need to 75 everything out. Just like this ring, Void, cold resistance, increased minion damage, and healing effectiveness. Healing effectiveness works really well with Drain Life. Important, this is a turquoise ring. A turquoise ring has minion critical strike multiplier and minion damage. If you can get 2 turquoise rings, that would be perfect. Another 14% multiplier and 27% damage is brain dead good. Now, there is a two-handed unique that gives you more levels in Wraith. The problem is that my more levels in Wraith wouldn't really net total to anything. I am quite fine and content with what we have boosted up. You could give it more melee attack speed, but your Wraith Lord does beams, so that doesn't really work. None of this would help to make our Wraith better, which means we don't need that unique, and we're currently going with a Mana Forge Crystal Wand that gives me more mana regen, so I can essentially spam more of my life drains in a row with an increased cast speed and minion spell damage. And the offhand gives us more cast speed, so I can spam again more of these life leeches in a row with minion damage and minion damage. It works plenty well together. Our chest piece currently gives us 24% increased health, minion resistance, armor, 2 to drain life, and then vitality. I wanted to get more levels into Wraith summons, but what for? Like, the only reason to get more levels in Wraith summons would be because it comes with a duo spec of more minion damage. But hey, this armor made me plenty healthy. I did even try a unique armor called the Titan Heart that would have me take less damage on two-handed weapon, increased health, and I don't regenerate health. The regenerate health doesn't matter because I life leech, but if you look at it, this gives me 114 armor, 90 armor. This gives me 213 armor and 126 armor. And then this gives me 38% health, but I get here 24% anyways. So the only thing it had was the less damage taken. It wasn't even better than what I'm rocking here with my chest piece. Now the idols are really needed for health. Right now I have a bit weird ones. This is minion critical strike chance, but it's 5% life. 5% life and then mark on death. Don't need that as well, but life. This one is also 5% life and minion cold damage. What we want is minion physical damage or necrotic damage. So like this is minion physical damage and critical strike to skeleton mages. That one obviously useless. Physical damage, critical strike to skeleton mages, useless. But we want the physical damage, necrotic damage. And here's just health and mana. All in all, what you really look for is you want to increase your health here as much as possible. That is just fantastic. And if we get a bonus of physical damage on top, that's nice. But our main damage comes from boosting that amazing critical strike multiplier to just have him go absolutely off the charts. I did think about using Jewel Rust Star Dial because it says 29% of mana spent gained as ward, right? But when I use a movement or time travel skill, all stats on this item are tripled. So if we would actually use this item and I then teleport and then I spam these things, the amount of ward we gain is quite significant. So I use the travel skill again, and then you soak your minions in empty, and we actually get quite some ward, and it has legendary potential. So it wouldn't be bad to think about it. The only problem is we lose some health, we lose some resistances, health and mana too, but it's quite a cute thought. Though this gives me, like, I'm currently at 2,000 life, and this gives me 300 life plus, so I'm probably gonna stay. Now, how do you get this helmet easy and fast? 2 steps. You could forge and you could use a Rune of Ascendance to turn any helmet into a unique or set helmet. That is a gamble. With 10 runes, you should already have the Wraithlords Harbour. Alternative, you go into the Circle of Fortune. I currently have 13,000 favor. We have a whole video on the Circle of Fortune if you want to deep dive into that even more. Then you're going to buy yourself from this lady a regional lens of the crown, so you have a better chance to get helmets. So we're buying this one. Moving to the Prophecy Idols, swapping to North. Here we're going to socket the helmet lens, and now we're checking for helmets. So let's re-roll this, and we're going to get no legendary helmets, no unique helmets. Here. I need to kill a boss, and I get 5 unique helmets. That's it. Just one boss. Boss can be anything. End of Echo, end of whatever. 5 unique helmets. Might be the Wraithlords Harbour already. Let's re-roll another time. That is Death of a Boss, another 5 unique helmets. So if I kill a boss now, I get 10 unique helmets. And I kill another boss, I get another 2 unique helmets. Yep. So that's 12 already. That's 12 already. Now I go into the Lightless Arbor dungeon, I could get another 5. Like, yeah, it's that simple when you're looking for something. It's crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have a different interpretation of this build? Drop it in the comments below. I would love to see other iterations. Again, if you want to level until this point with something different, that's the zombie build, which zoomed me through everything. Undying monstrosity. Could have even gone for like 200, 300, 400 corruption, but I choose to try out the Wraith Lord to see how much fun it is. Enjoy.